you scroll and you land on this video and you're like, oh, that's my teacher. Oh, that's this is what's going on in my class. What would you do? What would you do?
I'd be like, not to gal.
It's not a game, it's a rich thing.
What up, peeps? This is Alyssa, and I'm here with my co-host and faux little bro, Andre.
And welcome to another episode of Teachers Like Us. Look at that. Look who made it. Look who's on the camera.
My good camera is my good camera is not working, so you guys have to make do with this today. But yeah, this feels funny. This is going to be really interesting when it goes out because I'm not prepared for like a video, component to this, because now they can see us making like faces and things, and so that's going to be funny.
Yeah, we're gonna have to. I said it last time. We have to hide better and try and figure out like how we're going to signal each other without letting them know that we're signaling each other.
I can't wink, so that's not helpful.
Oh,
that's the thing that's gonna go viral, that little non-winky moment. Yeah, so mental health check. What's been going on with you?
Well, I started a new job today.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. So for everyone that was like on my social media, I was like, oh my gosh, where are you going? Because I posted a video last week saying like, oh my gosh, today is my last day. And then posted video of me like packing up myself, and everybody's like, oh, where are you going? What are you doing? Where are you going? What are you doing? So I accepted a position at our board office. And I started today, and it was very much like information I always say overload today.
But you're not going to tell them what position you're in?
Oh,
like you're just going
to be exact, I work in the Safe and Caring Schools department, and I'm a resource teacher in the Safe and Caring Schools department.
Woo!
And
this podcast is going to become obsolete soon.
I would say, to tell you what I do, I can't. I can't. No, I'm joking. Again, in essence, my job is it's support. It's when things are going on in the school. There's some reactive support, but then there's also trying to set up supports that are proactive, so that we're helping students, not just while they're like while a school or while a student is having like some sort of challenge or a crisis moment, but it's to try and set up programming, try and set up supports in the building, people that are able to support that student, or so that the student has the sense of belonging while they're at school. I think that's the biggest thing, is that we're trying to make schools a safe place for students, schools a place that when they walk into the building, they feel like they belong there. And that's really what I believe my role as our resource teacher is going to be, just stepping into those buildings and trying to help set up a community if they don't have one set up already. Trying to get staff on board and build capacity for staff so they can be, building relationships in their classrooms, all the stuff that we talk about here on the podcast that we hope is natural for some people, but I realize it's not natural for everyone. So
it is not.
Yeah, so because it's not natural to everyone, it's trying to just give resources, bring people in. I feel this is so weird. Like, now that I officially work at the board, like badge and all, I find myself using words. It's only been one day,
right?
And the vocab, the language, the verbiage.
Right?
It just like it comes out of my pores now. I didn't know before. I used to hear people speak, and I was like, "Why do you talk like that? Why do you just talk normally?" Like, I am a human. You are a human. Speak to me. But now I get it. It's like as soon as they put the little the lanyard around me, downloaded all of this language, and
you're like freaking like Mufasa, Simba.
Yeah.
time.
Yeah. Once Rafiki signed me, I'm good to go. Like, but yeah,
And now
it's
you're
been
there.
a good week. It was like a really, really sad week. Shout out to all of the students, all of the teachers that I worked with that listened to the podcast that were like, "Oh my gosh, not you! You can't leave!" And I was like, "Oh, okay. This is I didn't know. Like, it's one thing to think that you're doing a lot of work at this at the school you're working at, and feel that you're doing your best to impact the students. But I was somebody that never really took the time to kind of like step back and just evaluate what my job, what kind of impact I was having on my school building. It wasn't until my principal, when I got the job, my principal said to me like, "Hey, take some time, soak it in, because you're gonna miss this." And when he said it, I was like, "Yeah, okay, cool." But then I started like taking some time, and I'll even share like something super personal. Um, not a lot of people know, but or again, I don't know who listens to this, but there's a staff member at our school that passed.
Ooh, don't make me cry.
Yeah, there's a staff member at the school that passed, and he is the reason I started working at that school. So when he had left the first time, my first LTO that I got with the Leadership School Board was working for him. And then when he came back and I came back into the building, I built this like great relationship with him. Um, like like just so much that I learned from him that I didn't realize that I learned from him until he was gone. And what the school kind of put together and staff members at that school that were very close to him put together is we were able to get like a banner raised at our school in his name. They named the gym after him, so there's like a plaque that sits in the gym. And part of my like soaking in before I left was walking and literally like standing at the banner, like, "Holy, I'm leaving this."
Mm-hmm.
And then even looking at his banner and looking at all the banners that like the school like sports banners that were put up around and all of the stuff that I was a part of at the school, I was like, okay, I'm leaving all of this, and like it's cool and it's great and I get to try something new, but wow.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
just to lighten the mood a little bit, I would just like to point out that Andre also came in to cover me at that time, which he left out. He left that piece out. It wasn't just our friend that he covered. It was my position as well.
That's true.
Because we were co-phys ed teachers at the time. And so yeah. A really special person to me, even though this guy seemed like just a fly by night. It was my position too, friend.
Yeah, it's funny. A lot of people like see Alyssa and I just think that we're brethren from time started in the sandbox together, but I didn't see this lady for a very, very, very long time. I just knew this was somebody that worked at the school. I covered for her position a couple of times, and then she came back.
Did you know that? Did you know that?
Then she came back, and I was like, "Oh, you're kind of cool people. Okay, cool."
Wow. Listen, I was off having babies. Lots of them.
Clearly. As you have a whole tribe at home now. Yeah, exactly.
It's not a joke out here. It's not a joke.
Enough of me. How are you?
I was gonna say your half hour mental
yeah.
You know what? Things are really good right now. I said last week I was starting to really get a taste for the position. I would say that it grows even more every day. Like I genuinely enjoy what I do. I feel like I am suited for this type of position. I feel like it just kind of comes natural to me. We had 2 new resource teachers join us today, one of whom is Mrs. Mattressing, who you've heard on the podcast before. Yes. And so it was nice to have a friendly face like in the building. And so that was cool. Like, yeah, it was just nice to, I felt like, okay, my fam is here now. Like I felt a little more settled knowing that like Andre and Angela were in the building. I was like, okay, I can stay here. Like this is cool. My peeps are here now. We're okay. And so, yeah, like I think overall things are going really well. I haven't had sugar in 3 weeks, in case anybody's wondering. And and I just want a piece of cake. Just want something. So yeah, that's about it. That's about it. Nothing else to report here.
No, I feel like we're in this space where again school is still like freshly starting.
Mm-hmm.
So all of like the drama that we usually get into like middle of our podcast season, we're nowhere near it yet. So and it's nice. It's unlike I remember what was it like 2021 when we just started going back into the school building after COVID, and it's like, ooh, what is this strange place? And now starting this school year, you kind of see I kind of feel like it's kind of back to normal ish. This it's like a normal aside.
Adjacent.
Yeah, say yeah. It's just like
normal adjacent.
it's we're like we could be there, but this one is good. Like what's it called the multiverse? Like I'm cool living in Earth 367 instead of 366. Like it's cool over here.
You want to be in London, England? Spider-Man, is that you, bro? You know what? I would say the opposite though. I don't think we'll ever get back. Like this doesn't feel normal adjacent to me. And I don't know, like being in a lot of schools, and this is something that Andre and I were talking about. I was like, well, now that you're in this board role, now your information is confidential. So you can't say all of the things
my bad,
that you
everyone.
wanted to say. Yeah.
Before, how I used to be able to just like, change a name, change a location. It can't happen. I have been sworn to secrecy. I've taken an oath.
He works for the CIA now.
Oh,
He's
yeah,
off.
FBI agent. Like it's a wrap.
Yeah, and it's funny because I haven't been sworn to secrecy, but I have been reminded that, like, the things that I say out in the world, so not even just on the pod, but like, to other educators, to administrators, is a reflection of the place that I work. And especially working at the board office, it's interesting to now be in this predicament where you have information and you have insight, but you're not going to have to find a way to provide it in a way that doesn't disclose how you got the information or why you came to that conclusion, which I think might be interesting for listeners now to figure out, because when we are saying things, and again, I think we ran into this last year too, right? Like I feel like the upset podcast, that one is going to like live on in my brain forever. But I feel like a lot of that information was based on information, right? Like things that couldn't really be shared, but like I'm like, you're just gonna have to take my word for it. This is the information that I have. And so I think we're in for some interesting changes. I don't know. I'm curious to see how your information unfolds, being that you were actually sworn to secrecy. So like when you comment on the state of schools, how do you do so? Because you now have information about the state of schools that you didn't have before.
No, and this is day one, but again, like I know before I thought it was really hard before, because again, there are parents, there are students and staff in the building that we were working in that were listening to the pod, and would come to me like, oh, I heard I heard last week's episode, blah, 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 try to talk to me about it. So I can't be saying things like last week when I was like, some schools are trash. I can't say some teachers are trash and have people think I'm talking about them and then looking at me sideways when I get to school that morning. Right. So it was like a juggling act to try and like, we're not going to mention certain particulars so that if you know, but you're not going to catch on from me knowing. And I think that's going to be the art of this. For me now, it's going to be a very much, if you know, then you knew, but you didn't know from me.
Fair. Okay, so then I guess my question for you after the first day is, how was your Wizard of Oz moment? Remember when I first started, I was like, I saw behind the curtain.
Yeah.
And this is how I felt. How did you feel once you saw behind the curtain? Did you feel like, I get it, or did you feel like, I don't know, or like, did you have some other kind of feeling?
Um, One thing I will say is that I'm really start today made me really realize um those little angry rants that I used to get on where I was like, yo, if you don't know what you're doing by now, if you're not building connections, then quit. Get out of here. Why are you here? Other people feel the same way. And it was it was something I did not realize before. I thought I was the only one that was angry, like, oh, what's wrong with these people? Why are they working in these schools? How come they're not working? Like I said last week, how come they're not working at UPS? Like,
Listen, UPS, we're gonna get an angry letter from UPS and FedEx.
But I was like, oh, it's not just me that thinks this way. It's other people. Other people are like, who let you in?
Who said?
Yeah,
who said you could come here?
Exactly. Who said you could come? Who invited you to the cookout? Like, what happened?
Nobody. The cookout.
Yeah. And now we're in this place where we're trying to, again, bring people along, bring people into the teaching that are things that should be coming naturally to them. Like, you shouldn't be walking into a building and going, hey, I don't really care about none of you kids. I'm here to teach. And you guys better get these lessons. And that's really it. That, like,
you better get these lessons.
Exactly. Whatever coffee you're drinking that morning that put that idea in your brain way back before you graduated from teachers college, like, you need to throw all of that stale coffee away because it's something happened. And clearly you got the messaging wrong. Part of one of the conversations I even had today was like some of the problems that we're seeing in schools or seeing with like just not just in the school like students and problems, but like just teachers and like lack of motivation or lack of care in some cases, not in every case, but in some cases. What will kind of prevent some of that is changing the courses that we're teaching the teacher candidates. So while they're in teachers college.
Yeah, agreed.
And having some of the lessons or developing some of these concepts down at that level. Like, let me not call it down, but just at that level, so that by the time they enter into a school board, enter into a supply position, LTO, and so on and so forth, they're equipped with more than just how to create a 3-part lesson. Like, there's more.
Yeah.
Like, creating a lessons are like vital. Reading your curriculum and understanding how to unpack it for students, like that stuff is vital and should be taught. Equity and inclusion, which is something that it changed, but it's now being taught in schools for teacher candidates. Those things are important, but there's other aspects like community building that needs to be taught down there. That way, when you get to a school board, you have this as part of your toolkit already.
Yeah, I agree. Oh shoot, I had another question and now I forgot it because my brain is a peanut.
If you didn't notice, we're recording in the late night, so we're back to Alyssa who can't handle the late night.
This is not for me. I was not built for this time of night to be like thinking at any kind of high level. Darn it. And I had a really good question too. I knew it was like a solid point, something that was going to happen, but I don't know. My brain said no, thank you.
Well, let me swing it this way, and then we'll come back to it. On the idea of
we're recording.
On the idea, you're a terrible human being. It's okay.
I legit forgot, like, because I'm so used to doing this. I was like, oh wait, this is going somewhere. But go for it. Swing away.
This idea of like, trying to come up with new concepts to build relationships in schools. I saw a video the other day where to make students feel like they belong and feel like they're a family, there's a teacher that was like giving out like kisses to students, like having students come up and she's kissing them like on the lips. And
absolutely not.
I was like,
that's a hard pass.
Yeah, I was looking at my phone like, what is going? Who said
negativo?
This was okay?
No, I know the video you're talking. Well, not I know, but you sent it to me, so I know what you're talking about. But yeah, and so there was the option. It's like one of those ones where the kids get to point to what they want, like kiss, hug, or whatever, like
Yeah.
nothing or handshake or whatever. Inappropriate on so many levels. And yeah, there's like, I feel like there's not much to say about this because it, I feel like it's fuel for the fire for those who already don't like teachers and
Yeah.
are like, see, this is the nonsense you guys do. And then for like people who are actually teachers are like, who would do that?
Yeah.
But like,
Yeah. Okay, so hold on. So, you're scrolling on your feed with your 20K followers, just feeling yourself. Um, and and you scroll and you land on this video and you're like, oh, that's my teacher. Oh, this is what's going on in my class. What would you do? What would you do?
I'd be like, not to gal. Yeah, first of all, there would be language. So hold on. Am I the principal in this case? Am I the parent or am I a teacher and teacher? Like, what's my role?
Let's say let's make you a principal first. You're the principal at the school and this pops up.
Yo, I'm shutting it down. I'm finding you ASAP. I'm contacting Safe and Caring Schools and I'm saying, how do I get this teacher out my building? I'm sorry, no. Because now you have to like, not even now, like teacher has to go first of all. I don't know, you can go to counseling, you can talk about it, like you figure it out, but you can't be in my school. And then second, you gotta go talk to students and let them know that it is not appropriate. Like, because now you have to backtrack and do all of these things. You have to contact parents. Like, this is not as simple as
hey,
an incident occurred. Yeah, hey, stop that! Don't do that again. What? No. And it's public facing, so now you got to contact comms. That's whatever. You got communications. You got to talk like the board. The what's it called? I can't even think. I keep wanting to say board of directors, director of education. Like everybody needs to be involved. That's how serious this would be in a public school board. Like if this were the case and like this made the rounds. Yeah, there would be a lot happening. I'd have to bring counselors in. Like it's that serious.
I know for me as a principal, my first question is, hey, how many times? Was this like one of those, hey, it's free time Friday, and this is how I'm sending you out for the weekend, and you did it once and got caught? Or were you doing this like since it, like, I want to know. That's my first question.
You filmed it. Like,
yeah.
I'm there. No, there's something not connecting.
But it's that need to be, famous, go viral, people see me. Whether
not for the wrong reasons. No, thank you.
Again, she probably thought that teacher probably thought it was a good thing. Let me show the world how much or the extent that I'll go to love my kids. That's maybe that, I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. I wouldn't.
The day and if I'm a parent, doing something not that as a teacher I would not do, but yeah, like I might have to pop you in your mouth one time.
Yeah, if I'm a parent, if I'm a parent, again, I have 2 girls. If I'm a parent and you're out here, not like it's a health and safety concern, ma'am. I don't know you. I don't know where your mouth has been. Also, these little kids in kindergarten are dirty already, and you're kissing all of them. No. That's ridiculous.
This podcast took such a left turn with this comment
because it was so like again
disturbing.
Yeah, that would be the best word for it. Because when I saw it, I was like, "What is going on? Who allowed this to happen and continue?"
And be filmed and posted. Like there were so many steps involved. Like I just no, thank you. No, no. So back to asking you about, behind the curtain part 2.
Yeah.
Do you, again, this is like a lot for your first day, but like, do you see yourself in this kind of role long term? Or are you like, I'm not sure?
after day one, if what they're asking me to do is what I think they're asking me to do, this might be like the perfect job.
Isn't that interesting? Because you
For
said
me.
that, when you got to guidance, you were like, I've reached
But this is the
the
thing.
pinnacle.
I was talking about it with somebody, and I was like, when I got into teaching, I was like, I want to be a guidance counselor, and like a couple of years of being permanent, I'm there, mountaintop. I feel like what's his name? Like Magic Johnson. I win a ring, rookie year. I'm here. Like, so
I made it.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, what do I do now? Do I sit in this role for the next 25 years, which I have no problem doing because this is what I wanted to do,
I
or
remembered what I want to talk about, but keep going.
yeah, or do I like just try just to see what else is out there? And even in that talk, I told them about you, and I said, at the time, a board position wasn't something that I thought somebody like me could get. I thought it was like after you were a seasoned veteran in the teaching game, they called you up to the big leagues and said, yeah, come. No more outdoor duty for you. It's okay, come, man.
Right. You've graduated.
Yeah, right. That's just what I thought happened, and then it wasn't until you and another teacher that used to be at our school. It wasn't until you two got these positions that I was like, oh,
It's for degular folks.
yeah, it might be something over there that I could try and do, and that's where this came in. And I just remember interacting with this department so much the last school year that I was like, oh, okay, maybe I could, if I'm a part of this now, I'm on the other side of it. Let me see what's going on the other side of things. And what I've kind of what I've seen so far is, again, if this is what the other side looks like, this is a place that I could be, because a place of being able to be the person that is able to like step into a situation, do their best to resolve, and also still be thinking of, okay, what can we do proactively to keep these things from happening? That is like literally what I've been doing at my school. So always thinking, okay, what can I do next for the kids? What can I do next for the school? What kind of activities can we bring in? What kind of clubs can we create? And being a go-to person for the students in the building that I was in. And now I get to do that in multiple buildings. So I was like, this is, if things are the way that I think they're going to be, I was like, ooh, I could sit here for 20 years. Like, this would be nice. Probably not.
You can. You have to go. So in these roles, for anyone who doesn't know, if you're looking at a board role, like a resource teacher, coordinator, etc., you can only be in your resource teacher position for a maximum of 6 years. And then you either have to go up to like be an instructional coordinator, or you have to go back to the classroom for a year, and then you can like reapply and go back. But you actually can't sit in these positions for longer than 6 years, which is interesting. I think is great.
Yeah.
Yes, which leads me to the question that I was going to ask you that I forgot, or the statement that I was going to make. So we come from a school where, they're not for the most part, but there are lifers, right? Like, it's the type of school that you want to stay at for your career, because it's always just had like a nice flow of admin and like people, and the camaraderie is, again, usually there. It's one of the things I complained about when it was like not there. But is that a good thing, or is it not a good thing? Because there are schools with, again, teachers that have been there 17, 18, 20, 30 years, right? Like, and no new faces have popped into those buildings. And you have schools like that where like everybody there is a lifer, not just like a select few or like a core group, but like your whole staff open the school. They love it so much. They love each other. And so they stay there. Good for the kids, bad for the kids, indifferent. How do you feel?
It all depends on the type of teacher.
Okay.
That's what my answer is, because if you're a teacher that the students really connect with, that parents really connect with, and the community as a whole connects with, you are now a part of the community. You're just like somebody that like, lives across the street. Like, yeah, that's Mr. Johnson. Like you're a part of the community, and the community notices and feels when you're not there. And that's something that, again, for me taking the time to sit back and just reflect, that's something that I noticed when I got this job and was like, okay, I'm leaving, was that the community was like, where are you going?
Not you.
Like, you can't be the one to leave. Anybody else could leave. You can't be the one to leave.
This is so shady, but continue.
The same thing happened with you, so stop it.
I just left.
Yeah, same thing happened with you, but then I got a lot of that too. Miss Gray just left, and now you're leaving too, right?
Yeah.
But again, if you're a teacher that's providing that impact, you're providing that impact to generations. So you're not just teaching, somebody's, I don't know, one son. Now you've taught, all four. Yeah. All four have seen you or heard you. Your name is forever being spoken around the dinner table or at home, so that when the parents walk into the building, they know exactly who you are and how you carry yourself and all of that stuff. And that becomes important. Like, I know even for me as being the guidance counselor, I got the chance to actually, go to different schools in our family of schools and just check out their different programs to see what I could bring back to mine. And even getting to go to the high schools and see like, oh my gosh, all these kids, like the high school that our school feeds into, I think I know 80%. 80% of those kids either know exactly who I am because I taught them and they were in my school building, or they went to another school and I saw them at a basketball tournament or something like that and they remember who I am. That stuff's
the man,
important.
The myth, the legend.
That stuff is important. Like schools need that stuff. Now the other side of it is if you're a teacher who's just like, everybody doesn't like.
I don't even know if it's about like per se.
Yeah, maybe not.
If you are the teacher that is, you have your same teaching packet.
That would be it. That would
1992, and you're still photocopying the same worksheet.
Mm-hmm. If you're a teacher that's just like you are here, I'm in my classroom, I don't see outside of my classroom. Whoever I'm able to touch inside those four walls, that's really it. Right?
Maybe not. Impact. Let's say impact. Especially after that conversation.
Then that's really all. That's what I'm doing. Whether you stay or go doesn't mean anything. Might not mean anything to the community at large. But if you're a teacher, like again, if you speak to some of the teachers that are in the building that now both of us have left, there's some like solid rocks, some solid foundation there that.
That's true.
There's foundations that have left, and you still kind of feel the effects of like, ooh, so this person's not here to fill this gap, where they would have been perfect for this, but hey, they're not here. We have to find somebody else. And there's certain people that have left and come back, and when they came back, you're like, oh, thank you. We missed you dearly. We know you're only gone 9 months, but thank you for coming back.
It's true.
So like there's a need there. There's a need for lifers. It just depends on the type of lifetime teacher you are.
You just need to be able to, I guess, grow in that position. So that way you're not just the type of lifer who is just, carting that same resource and that same programming, because you're not understanding like that the world has changed.
Yeah.
The demographics of your building have probably changed. Like teaching is not the same as it was. And so as much as like in the beginning you were saying like it feels like we're going back to normal or like it's some kind of normal, I feel like we're just always on this evolutionary pattern of teaching where it like never looks the same, and it tweaks so slightly every year. But like if you look like 10 years ahead, 10 years behind, very different teaching, right? Like it's a very different dynamic. But again, because they're like small changes all the time. And so I think if you're not keeping up with those small changes, it doesn't mean that you're like on top of every single new pedagogy coming down, because again, as a lifer, or as someone who's been in teaching for a long time, you understand that, there are trends, there are fads, but that you understand that the changing demographic of teaching of students requires that you change the way that you approach teaching.
Mm.
Because yeah, I think it can be helpful. I think it can be harmful. And I think it's really interesting now because I just went back to our school for Andre's last day. And let me just say, like this goodbye, I'm actually like super sad about it because I now in a coordinator role, I can't just like jump out and be
Yeah.
everywhere at every time. His turnaround was even quicker than my turnaround. So like all the things that I wish like we could have done, to do the proper send off just didn't happen. And I'm like terribly upset about it. But in any case, I digress. I went back to the school for Andre's last day and literally people were looking at me like, who's this?
Yeah.
And I thought like, I just left. Like, huh? Who are you? Who are you in this building? And so it's interesting to see, in a building that has quite a few lifers to see this much change now in the last couple of years in that one building, right? Like there's staff that I'm just like, I never come across you before in my life. And I'm sure they were thinking the same about me. Like, who's this girl just walking into the school like she owns the place? She does.
But it's also like, I think it's really important. I guess it's gonna be kind of last point type thing. It's just those lifetime teachers, I think, and even like that teacher that we just talked about on Instagram, like you don't need to be a trendy teacher. You don't have to be like kind of like what you said. You don't have to be with everything brand new that is going on. But it's really comes down to how are you impacting the community, and do they notice the impact that you have? And I think it'd be just some solid advice for really any teacher, but especially teachers that have been in this for a long time. Take some time to reflect and look at like what kind of teacher have I been for the building that I'm in right now. Whether you could have only been in the building for a month, or you could have been there X amount of years. But what kind of teacher have you been? How are the students seeing you? And if you don't like what they're seeing, what are you going to do to change that? What new pedagogy are you going to bring in to your classroom? What kind of materials are you going to start bringing into your classroom to just invite that change to happen?
And I will add to that, how are you going to support your own mental health to ensure that you are bringing your healthiest version to teaching? Because so much of teaching is yourself. You bring your energy, your personality, for better or worse, you bring all of the stress in your life. And so I will also say to that effect, if you feel like you're burnt out already, which I've already heard, it's September 25th, like as we're recording this, you're not going to get it until the week after, but you know what I mean? Like we're at the end of September and people are burnt out, and they've been burnt out for the last few years. And so as an educator, we want to say the system has to change. We know that, right? But from a practical standpoint, we understand the mountains we have to move. It's a negotiation here, like tick, tick. You know what I mean? And so I really do want teachers to figure out ways to prioritize themselves and their own mental health. So that way they are, bringing the best versions of themselves into the classroom, because it's not easy. We understand that teaching is like peaks and valleys, and, we're just we're trying, but sometimes it doesn't translate. And so if when you do your reflection, you're like, this is not the teacher I envisioned myself to be, you got to figure out what that looks like. Does that look like a step back for you? Does that look like some time off? Does that look like not bringing marking home? Like, what is it that is going to just give you that ounce of hope, that glimmer? And it's funny because I saw a post on Instagram a while ago and it said, like, stop weaponizing the like, remember why you started, right? Because that's what we do to teachers. We run them down and we expect them to do everything. And they're like, just do it for the kids. Remember, you're doing it for the kids.
You love the kids. Remember that. Yeah.
But it's not enough all the time. And that's okay too. So then you, again, have to figure out what does this look like to make teaching sustainable for me? And I think that's where we're really moving, is trying to figure out how do we stay the course in this career that's always changing, that always has like moments where people are like hating on you and hating on your job and everything about what you do and that you're not doing enough. So yeah, I think it's just, I don't know, reflect, take time, find the joy, and then bring your buddies to where you're working so that way you can find joy again. Because that is the solution to all the problems of the world.
Bring your friends.
Bring your friends.
Yep.
Bring your friends. Tell your friends to tell their friends. That's not true. I'm an introvert. I don't want any of your friends. Just y'all. So yeah, I think that's
we're good to go.
I just gave you the signal that I normally give you when like
terrible. So we're gonna wrap up today's episode. Again, we are Teachers Like Us. You can find us wherever you decide to put your subscription dollars. If you're looking to stay up to date for when we are dropping new episodes, you can follow us on Instagram at Teachers Like Us. If you're looking to get, I don't know, what have you done lately? Knix.
Wow.
If you're looking to find out a Knix code so you can get some sweaters and track pants and stuff like that.
And underwear. Oh, the vault is opening PS, and so there's about to be a huge 60% off sale. So, and you don't even need my code, but you will need my link. So you can follow me on Instagram at Alyssa G. Titer. Also, I now offer subscriptions, and so I'm going to be posting little snippets of these videos for subscribers only. So things are happening. So don't you judge me. Don't judge me.
Dory, it's my little, I'm lighting a little fire under her to actually do stuff, or else, the 20,000, they go unfed. What would the Gray Hive do? What would they do? What would the Titer Hive do? Anyways, we will see you next week.
Peace.